Hello. So individuality is today's theme, and it's long been a favourite subject of mine. I remember when I watched the 1990 film Wild at Heart, starring a young Nicolas Cage, whose character Sailor had a beloved item of clothing that he often refers to in the film, and he says, "This is a snakeskin jacket, and for me, it's a symbol of my individuality and my belief in personal freedom." And the quote made me fall in love with the film. I've got to be honest. It also gave me confidence to believe in my own sense of individuality. And that's not the only reason I'm using a magic wand today, by the way. Following the recent big changes in the ways we live our lives currently, lots of us have an opportunity to start afresh in many aspects of our lives. And when doing so, I think that championing your individuality and uniqueness is something that will help greatly in a wide number of different ways. As I said, this is a topic that I have fondly written about for the past 20 years, and it's really close to my heart. Wherever you happen to be watching this video, whatever website you're watching it on, I'll share some links to some articles on this and some related topics for you to explore this topic further should you wish. Today though, it's more of a kind of manifesto of individuality and uniqueness. Confucius once said, what the superior man seeks is in himself, what the small man seeks is in others. And this is a great way to frame this video today. Because we all have, skills and talents that are unique to us. If you think about the things that you enjoy, the things that you are good at, the things that inspire you, the kind of things that bring a smile to your face. Our passions are often an indication of our skills and talents. And interestingly, when we admire or even envy someone, it's often a sign that we have the same skills, albeit often dormant, waiting to be expressed. For example, if you admire inspirational speakers, you too could be one. Once you apply yourself and create the intention and follow kind of diligently through with those actions. So understanding what you're passionate about and expressing those kind of unique gifts can start to lead you to have a sort of sense of your purpose, and you kind of sync up a little bit with who you truly are, the authentic you and your individuality. As Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. So how can you do that? How can you express your individuality and your uniqueness? You can let it shine when you speak, when you write, when you network, when you post on social media. You want your friends, clients, your co-workers to see you, the most authentic you, and they're going to be attracted to you because of who you are. If you are one of many and you fit in and you stay within that comfort zone, less people are going to notice you and your message. Some prefer the safety of that, but you have a message that's waiting to be expressed. Your life has some kind of some sort of purpose, and your career and your business. So consider stepping out of your comfort zone in order to express that. And so dare to be you. We all have a personal brand of some kind with a number of impressive qualities. You can use your individuality and uniqueness and be remarkable to add value to your business, to your professional and personal relationships. So I'd like to share with you some of my own thoughts on what's more of a kind of philosophy that I think is very rewarding, regardless of your field. But it's particularly pertinent to hypnotherapists that follow my work and that are looking to sort of enhance their business. So for example, on Pancake Day, are you the guy that piles on natural yogurt, toasted almonds, strawberry jam, while everyone else insists on lemon juice and sugar? And as a side note, if you ever get the chance to read The Fountainhead by a favourite author of mine, Ayn Rand, then please do so. Her works celebrate individuality greatly, and the lead character of that particular book the fountainhead, has red hair, so I liked him instantly. But the real reason that I like that main character, Rourke, is because of his sense of individualism. I'm not going to get political in this particular video because there's a lot of politicking and philosophical discussion to be had about Ayn Rand, and she's definitely not everybody's cup of tea. But I just want you to think about how much you think for yourself, because this is important in so many aspects of our own personal development. How much you actually allow yourself to be an individual, how much you celebrate your uniqueness, how comfortable you feel sharing that with the world, all tend to affect whether you blend in to the masses or whether you stand out in some way, whether that's just in your particular field or in very general terms. How individual do you actually allow yourself to be? Do you absolutely conform to some sort of beige wearing, magnolia painted, bland kind of styled template of how someone else has dictated how you ought to be, or do you dare non-conform? Do you dare embrace your idiosyncrasies? And by the way, I have magnolia painted walls in a couple of rooms at home and wear beige clothing on occasions. I have nothing against these things. There are sort of metaphoric, safe examples of what we're talking about here. When I ranted on about this particular subject at one of my hypnotherapy trainings a couple of years ago, a couple of my students then defied this theory by turning up the next day in beige clothing and making it look very sassy and awesome. So thousands of years ago, the first person discovered how to make fire. And what a moment that must have been, and what a shame no one was on hand to record that moment and put it on YouTube. But that person may have been thought of as being, potentially being in league with the devil. Clearly that person was some kind of baddie or some kind of warlock or witch. And you get the picture that I'm painting. From that moment forward, humankind had, not just fire to keep them warm and to cook their food. Raw steak every night of the week must have been getting monotonous. But they could also light their lives at night time, though some may think, that could have impaired their night vision. But all in all, it was something that gifted humankind in a number of different ways. Since then, and throughout the ages, people have invented cool stuff, and raised important issues, created new trains of thought, introduced radical ideas. Whatever the person did or said, in the history of what they did or said, the glory often began with that person paying in some way for their courage and daring to stand up and stand out and shine with individuality. And throughout those ages, there have been people who took the first steps down new pathways equipped solely with their unique vision. And the reactions and the responses that these people received often created misery, sadness, or problems for them in the initial instance. And those amazing creators and thinkers and artists and scientists and inventors and philosophers all often found themselves standing alone against the people or the institutions or establishments of their time. So many, beautiful new thoughts have initially been opposed in this world. So it's potentially a cynical thing to say, I suppose, but those that stand out today, who express individuality, are often made easy targets of. They're swiped at by those in the shadows. So it does take some bravery to shine and to be the real us, celebrating our individuality. Yet ultimately, we are rewarded greatly for such. So I want to suggest that we can all make a unique contribution to the world and to life and to our lives in particular, in the way we are and the way we allow ourselves to be. We don't all have to invent anything other than our own existence with our own vision, whatever that may be. And so many people that I work with in my therapy rooms or my students, or those hypnotherapists that I mentor and supervise, tend to be afraid of failure or success, afraid of what others might think, afraid to go against the grain of establishments and associations, afraid to do things differently to their peers, afraid of doing things that their teachers or parents would not have done. And as a result, so many of those run the risk of living a life or running a business flavored with dissatisfaction. So our brain is what we are blessed with, from the day of being born, and our mind is born out of that as life goes by and matures. And the function of our reasoning mind dictates the vast majority of who and how we are on a day-to-day basis. So let's take control of our minds and allow them to be free for us to use as we choose, no? And I believe this is so important, to the point that I put up on the board about critical thinking, to find some sort of happiness or satisfaction in business and achieve the kind of success that we're looking for. Every single mind is individual. My mind is different to yours, and yours is different to everyone else that you know. There's no such thing as the shared consciousness currently. No such thing as a collective brain, despite many big groups of people claiming it to be true. There's no evidence at all to suggest such a thing. We are each unique, and your mind is unique, as an entire human being, you are unique. And though you may think it is, cool to share certain facets with others, you are not the same as any other person out there. I know if you watched a lot of Star Trek, the Borg would disagree. But many of us find safety and protection in numbers, and I understand that, but how about kind of bearing yourself every now and then, not literally, but the next time you're leaving the house or the office and you have a good look around you, how much of what you see would have existed if someone had not designed and then subsequently built it. Wherever you're watching this clip now, look around you. All of that stuff was an idea in someone's mind once, someone who thought their own thoughts or embraced individuality to a certain extent. But how much of your creative and critical thinking faculty are you using today? There's generally two ways we can choose to exist day by day, with the independent work of our own mind, or as someone fed by the minds and influences of others. So how much of what you're doing today is truly because you chose to do it? Or how much of how you are communicating yourself to the world is because you think you should be that way, or because it's actually who you really are? The tyranny of the shoulds, as Albert Ellis would refer to it. So we're often taught that it's a virtue to agree with others. But how often have you thought critically, that this very day, and have disagreed? Courteously, of course. But we don't have to go around arguing for the sake of it. However, have you disagreed with something because you felt differently or considered something differently in your mind? Have you applied an intelligent line of inquiry to what's going on around you, the things that you're reading, the things that you are seeing, for example? We're often taught that it's a virtue to swim with the current, but how many times did you swim against the current today? Again, I'm not suggesting that you be different just for the sake of it, just that you do what fulfills and inspires or leads you to the right kind of direction for you. We're often taught that it's a virtue to stand together, and of course at times it is. But when was the last time that you stood alone? Metaphorically, when was the last time you chose not to have lemon and sugar on your pancakes, for example, and had your strawberry jam, natural yogurt, and flaked almonds? Just as a metaphorical example. But when was the last time you wore the snakeskin jacket? So for today, how about you police your own mind and you look at what you put into it and how you make the decisions that you make and how you express yourself? fellow members of the human race. You don't want to be allowing yourself to be one of those people lurking in the shadows, sniping at those that dare to be colourful. Embrace your own foibles, and be proud of them. Communicate as the real you. Question some of the usual ways of doing things. Enjoy being you, and the rewards you'll get from that will enhance your satisfaction and of course your business and so on. Have you thought about what makes you unique, and what is your individuality? What are the unique skills and gifts and talents and experiences that you bring to the world and your life and your career and your business? Instead of just fitting in and doing what everyone else does, let your uniqueness and your individuality shine. Only you have certain gifts, and only you can bring that purpose to the world. I'm sure you'd agree that the greatest inventions and advances came from those who utilized their unique skills and talents. When we become more of who we are, we become irresistible and attract the right kind of people into our lives, into our businesses. And we let the world know that, what it is that we stand for, what our values are. In our businesses, we attract teams and clients that help us thrive, and the environment and customers that share such values. Potentially even, the way in which you socialize can help tell people more about you in that respect. Social media gives a window to your personality. So, even consider making sure that those you are connected with there see who you really are from time to time. Form your own opinions and respect those of others, but understand that everyone has a right to their own opinion and truly adopting a belief. If you feel disrespected, of course, you can mention it to others with the best intentions, but part of staying true to who you are is standing up for yourself when you feel you have to. We come from all walks of life, and who people are and what they say is a culmination of their life experiences contributing to who they are. The snakeskin jacket could be interpreted metaphorically or literally here regarding individuality. For many, clothing's a great way to share their personality. The way that people dress can tell people about who you are. According to Professor Karen Pine, a psychologist, author and speaker, the way that you dress can affect the way you view yourself even. She completed an experiment that suggested that if you wear superhero clothing, for example, a cape, you're more likely to believe that you're actually physically stronger than you are. And this shows that the way you dress not only affects other people's perceptions of you, but the way that you see yourself. So make no mistake, the world is changing currently, and that the pace of change is increasing, and will only ever likely to overcome the new challenges appearing if we encourage and enable innovation, if we encourage and enable individuality, not just for the sake of being disruptive, but because that will utilize our great capacity for imagination to look at old problems in new ways and find new directions forward. When I'm mentoring and coaching hypnotherapists looking to develop in that way, I often look at the ways in which they market their personality or their brand, and look for the individuality and the uniqueness of how they communicate and express themselves and deliver their message. Those with whom you resonate with will like you and become a follower of your work and invest themselves in your work. But those with whom it doesn't resonate can find other solutions and other people. You'll never please everyone, and attempting to do so just waters down who you are and what you stand for. If you want to go be yourself, go be unique, celebrate your individuality, expose your foibles and quirks to the world, and watch how it works wonders in many areas, as I've been discussing today. That's it from me and my magic wand today. Do subscribe to this channel. You'll get notifications of all the latest videos as they happen. Do go visit my college website for details of our upcoming classroom-based courses and all of our online courses on the topics of hypnotherapy, self-hypnosis. I send you my very best wishes. Goodbye for now.